Good day everyone. My name is Nishita Anjaria and today we are going to start with the first chapter, Nutrition in Plants. Let's recall what we studied in grade 6. All organisms need to take food. 1. To obtain energy. 2. For growth and development. 3. For repair of damaged parts of the body. Now, the 5 components of food, that is carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins and minerals, are called nutrients and are necessary for our body. Before learning the different modes of nutrition, let us understand what is nutrition. The process of taking food by an organism as well as utilization of this food by the organism is called nutrition. It means any organism, when it takes in food, the food is utilized by the body. So, the taking of the food and utilization of the food together is called nutrition. Now, let's study the two modes of nutrition, autotrophs and heterotrophs. On the left hand side, you can see these organisms. They're wearing a chef's hat. This implies that they prepare their food because a chef prepares his food. And on the right hand side, we have heterotrophs. You can see them. They're looking at each other waiting. Who's going to cook for them? So they depend on other organisms for food. Let us understand the autotrophic mode of nutrition in detail. To make its food, the plant needs chlorophyll, light from the sun, carbon dioxide from the air, and water and nutrients from the soil. This water and nutrients, they travel from the root, through the stem, into the leaves. And in the presence of chlorophyll, they absorb energy from the sun and prepare their food. This process of synthesizing food is called photosynthesis. So we have observed that green plants have the ability to make their own food. So they are called autotrophs. Nutrition in which organisms prepare their own food is called autotrophic mode of nutrition. Example, green plants, blue-green algae, etc. Let's understand the term photosynthesis in detail. Leaves are the food factories of plants. Therefore, all the raw materials must reach the leaf. Water and minerals present in the soil are absorbed by the roots and transported to the leaves. Carbon dioxide from the air is taken in through the tiny pores present on the surface of the leaves. These pores are surrounded by guard cells. Such pores are called stomata. So the leaves have small pores like for breathing. They breathe in and breathe out through these pores. Water and minerals are transported to the leaves by the vessels which run like pipes throughout the root, the stem, the branches and the leaves. They form a continuous path or passage for the nutrients to reach the leaf. They are called vessels. The leaves have a green pigment called chlorophyll. It helps leaves to capture the energy of the sunlight. This energy is used to synthesize food from carbon dioxide and water. Since the synthesis of food occurs in the presence of sunlight, it is called photosynthesis. Photo means light, synthesize is to combine. So we find that chlorophyll, sunlight, carbon dioxide and water are necessary to carry out the process of photosynthesis. During photosynthesis, chlorophyll containing cells of leaves in the presence of sunlight use carbon dioxide and water to synthesize carbohydrates and oxygen. We just learned that plants prepare their own food through photosynthesis. What is that food? That is carbohydrates. And what is released in the air? Oxygen. The bodies of living organisms are made of tiny units called cells. Cells can be seen only under the microscope. Some organisms are made of only one cell. The cell is enclosed by a thin outer boundary called the cell membrane. Most cells have a distinct, centrally located spherical structure called the nucleus. The nucleus is surrounded by a jelly-like substance called cytoplasm. So, what we understood? That bodies of all living organisms are made of cells. And the three main parts are the nucleus, the cytoplasm, and the cell membrane. Plants synthesize carbohydrates through the process of photosynthesis. The carbohydrates are made of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. These are used to synthesize other components of food such as proteins and fats. But proteins are nitrogenous substances which contain nitrogen. So from where do plants obtain nitrogen? You know that nitrogen is present in abundance in gaseous form in the air. However, plants cannot absorb nitrogen in this form. So the soil has certain bacteria that converts these gaseous nitrogen into a usable form and release it into the soil. These are absorbed by the plants along with water. That is why farmers add fertilizers rich in nitrogen to the soil. In this way, the plants fulfill their requirements of nitrogen along with the other constituents. Plants can then synthesize proteins and vitamins. Now let's move on to heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Plants which cannot produce their own food and are dependent on green plants or other organisms for their food are called heterotrophs, and their mode of nutrition is called heterotrophic mode of nutrition. This heterotrophic mode of nutrition is divided into four parts. 1. Parasitic, 2. Saprophytic, 3. Symbiotic, 4. Insectivorous. Let's learn about the parasitic mode of nutrition. The mode of nutrition in which organisms obtain nutrition from other organisms' body is called parasitic mode of nutrition. Let's look at this plant, Cascata. Locally, it is called amarbale. This plant grows on other plant for nutrition. Such plants are called parasite, and the plant on which it grows is called the host plant. The other examples of parasites are Rafflesia, corpse flower, etc. Let's discuss the saprophytic mode of nutrition. For example, we have mushrooms. Mushroom secretes digestive juices on dead plants and animals and then converts these nutrients into simpler substances and then absorbs from the solution. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि मशरूम्स डायरेक्टली juices absorb नहीं कर सकते हैं from the nutrients. So they have to break it into simpler substances and then absorb from the solution. So the mode of nutrition in which organisms obtain nutrients from dead and decaying organic substances is called saprophytic mode of nutrition, and the organisms which have saprophytic nutrition are called saprotrophs. For example, fungi and rhizopus are some of the examples. symbiotic mode of nutrition. The mode of nutrition in which organisms live together and share shelter and food like friends is called symbiotic mode of nutrition. In science, such a relationship is called symbiotic relationship. For example, the rhizobium bacteria living in leguminous plants like peas, beans, moong, etc. are in a symbiotic relationship. The leguminous plants allows the rhizobium bacteria to live on its roots and also provides all the nutrients to it. On the other hand, the rhizobium bacteria converts the nitrogen present in the soil into a usable form for the plants. So, in this way, they both benefit each other. Another example of symbiosis is algae and fungi, which together gives lichens. Algae shares shelter, water and other nutrients to fungi, and fungi in return offers food prepared by photosynthesis. Insectivorous plants. Have you heard about plants that eat insects? Yes, that is true. There are a few plants which can trap insects and digest them. For example, pitcher plant. Their leaves are modified into pitcher so that they can trap insects. Then the hair on the plants, they trap the insects and do not allow them to escape. The insects are digested by the digestive juices secreted in the pitcher and its nutrients are absorbed. Such insect-eating plants are called insectivorous plants. Have you seen farmers spreading manure or fertilizers in the fields or gardens? Fertilizers and manures contain nutrients such as nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, etc. These nutrients need to be added from time to time to enrich the soil. We can grow plants and keep them healthy if we can fulfill the nutrient requirement of plants. Usually, crop plants absorb a lot of nitrogen and the soil becomes deficient in nitrogen. You learnt that though nitrogen gas is available in plenty in the air, plants cannot use it in the manner they can use carbon dioxide. They need nitrogen in the soluble form. The bacterium called rhizobium can take atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into usable form. It lives in the roots of gram, peas, moong, beans and other legumes and provides them with nitrogen. In return, the plants provide food and shelter to the bacteria. I hope you understood all the topics in this chapter. Thank you so much.